book. We are bold, brilliant, and just getting started. Thursday, June 12th at 10 a.m. Listen, we little, but we talawa. Don't miss it. Hey assemblers, I'm Kayleigh Andrews, presiding officer for the second annual primary plenary debate happening Thursday, June 12th, 2025 at 10 a.m. inside the Assembly Chamber. Autonomy, autonomy, autonomy. 19 bold young voices are ready to shake the island as they tackle the big question. How does autonomy affect us, youth? With courage, clarity, and conviction, we're stepping up and speaking out. Join us live in the chamber or tune in on YouTube and Facebook. We are bold, brilliant, and just getting started. Thursday, June 12th at 10 a.m. Listen, we little, but we talawa. Don't miss it.
Let us now pray. O Almighty God, as we have come together to begin our meeting of the Assembly, we humbly beseech you to grant to all our members the light and guidance of your Holy Spirit, that we may wisely take counsel together and come to such decisions as shall promote your glory and the well-being of all our citizens in this our land, so that peace and happiness, truth and justice may be enjoyed by all people. Grant this for the sake of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Amen. Members, you may now be seated.
Oath of allegiance of a new member, announcements by the presiding officer, assembly bills sent back from cabinet, assembly laws brought back from parliament, petitions, papers, presentation of reports from Dispute Resolution Commission, select committees, Chief Secretary's question, question to secretaries, questions for oral answer.
Assemblyman George.
Question number 1 to the Secretary for Education, Research and Technology.
Secretary for Education, Research and Technology.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Given the passage of the motion at the first primary plenary sitting, A, has the Division of Education, Research and Technology engaged persons and created a student-based team to examine the impact and effects of the SCA examination? B, if yes, who are the members of this team? In response to the honorable member's question concerning the implementation of the motion passed at the first primary plenary sitting, A, has the Division of Education, Research, Technology, and engaged persons and created a student-based team to examine the impact and effects of the SCA examination? Yes, the division has indeed acted upon the motion. We have engaged a number of stakeholders within the education sector and established a student-based team tasked with examining the impact and effects of the secondary entrance assessment SCA examination. B, if yes, who are the members of this team? The appointed members of this student team are as follows: Leston Paul, Chairman; Kimora Reed, Recording Secretary; Nando George, Member; Liam Wheeler, Member; S.J. Renee, Member; Zari McMillian, Member; Kimaya Lewis, Member; Eleni Woods, Member. These students were selected based on their recent success in the SCA examination, providing them with first-hand insight into the challenges and implications of the current assessment system. They have also demonstrated the capacity and interest to conduct research on the matter. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Minority Leader, Assemblyman Omar Gift.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Question 2 to the Secretary for Health, Wellness and Social Protection.
Secretary for Health, Wellness and Social Protection.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Can the Secretary state why there has been no development within our healthcare system in Tobago to address period poverty, especially in our island's secondary and primary schools? This matter has, in fact, been given considerable attention. The Honourable Member may not be aware that most recent and relevant information is readily available to the public through official channels. I would direct the member to the Division of Health's website, where they would find details regarding a recently concluded week-long stakeholder engagement initiative focused specifically on tackling period poverty in Tobago schools. This engagement was a collaborative effort involving myself, the Secretary for Education, and several technocrats from both the Divisions of Health and the Division of Education. Through this partnership, we have secured shared funding for the installation of subsidized vending machines stocked with menstrual and feminine hygiene products. This initiative represents a significant step forward in addressing period poverty on our island, ensuring equitable access to essential hygiene resources for all students, particularly those most vulnerable. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Clerk.
request for leave to move the adjournment of the Assembly on definite matters of urgent public importance. Statements by the secretaries or assistant secretaries. Personal explanation. Introduction of bills. Motions relating to the business or sittings of the Assembly and moved by a secretary or assistant secretary. Public business. Motion.
Chief Secretary, Assemblyman Zama Chapman, you may now move the motion.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. I seek leave at Standing Order 42.6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
Good morning, Madam Presiding Officer, members of this august chamber, the viewing public, and those online. Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand here not just as a voice for Tobago, but as a beacon for justice, equality, and for all the youths of Tobago. The call for autonomy is not a plea for separation. It is a demand for rightful empowerment within our twin island nation. Tobago's economic potential has stifled for decades under centralized control. According to the Tobago House of Assembly, also known as the THA, under the current system, Tobago cannot pass certain laws, make specific financial transactions, or source additional developmental fundings independently. How can we expect economic growth when our hands are tied behind our back? Let's take tourism, which accounts for approximately 12% of Tobago's gross domestic product. Despite this, most major decisions are made in Port of Spain, far removed from the reality on the ground. As a result, projects are delayed, opportunities are lost, and youths fumble for jobs. And the island's full potential remains untapped. With autonomy, we would gain the power to manage tourism, diversify industries, and unlock our blue economy with speed and precision. The THA Act Number 40 of 1996 gave Tobago control over 33 areas of responsibilities. Yet, the Central Cabinet in Trinidad retains veto power over those very areas. This is not autonomy. That is authority disguised as democracy. According to a poll conducted by the Tobago Civil Net, they said 53% of Tobagonians say we are ready for autonomy, and a staggering 84% believe that the THA should hold the most power over Tobago's affairs. The message is clear. The people are ready, but yet still the laws are written somewhere else. Fiscal fairness. Let's talk in numbers. In fiscal year 2015, Tobago received 70% of its requested recurrent funding, but only 15%, not even 50%, but 15% of its developmental funding. That means basic needs were barely met, while long-term growth was stifled. To add insult to injury, Tobago contributes to the national revenue through marine-based oil and gas activities. Yet we still see little to no benefit to Tobago. With autonomy, we can ensure that our resources benefit our people, not just the national treasury. or culture or festivals or history. They deserve more than recognition. They deserve investment, protection, and autonomy gives us that power to preserve our identity on our terms. They say autonomy might divide us. I say it unites us in responsibility. They say we are too small to govern ourselves. I say small means agile, focused, and community driven. Tobago is not asking for a handout. We are asking for the steering wheel to drive our own future. Let us lead, let us rise, let us claim our autonomy. Madam Presiding Officer, I beg to move this motion standing in my name. Thank you.
Honorable members, the question proposed is, whereas the pursuit of greater autonomy for Tobago has been a long-standing issue with ongoing discussions on its political, economic, and social implications, and whereas the youth of Tobago represent the island's future and will be the primary beneficiaries or challengers of any legislative and governance changes that result from this autonomy push. And whereas autonomy has the potential to create new opportunities in governance, education, entrepreneurship, and cultural development that directly impact young people. And whereas there are concerns about whether the youth are sufficiently informed, engaged, and prepared to navigate the changes that autonomy may bring. Be it resolved, this House examines the effects on the push for autonomy for Tobago by examining its impact on employment, education, civic engagement, and social mobility on the island. And be it further resolved, this House supports the youth active involvement in shaping Tobago's autonomous future. Minority Leader, Assemblyman Omar Gift, you may now join this debate.
Madam Presiding Officer, I seek leave at Standing Order 42-6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Good morning, Madam Presiding Officer, and honorable members of this House. Before I start my presentation, I would like to define today's motion. Today's motion is on the effects of the push for autonomy on the youths of Tobago. Now, autonomy means the right of an organization, country, or region to govern itself. But, Madam Presiding Officer, autonomy has both positive and negative effects on individuals. In a motion for internal self-government that was moved by Iana Robinson, MP in the Parliament on January 14th of 1977, where he highlighted that Tobago was described as nothing and nowhere in a Barbados Sunday Advocate of September 26, 1976. Why? Just why has no other Caribbean island been a victim of colonial exploitation, neglect, and pushed around like a political football? Madam Presiding Officer, every other island has had considerable amount of say on the fate of Tobago except the people of Tobago. Madam Presiding Officer, if, as Vivian Paul had said, that the Caribbean is the third world's third world, then Tobago is the Caribbean's third world. Madam Presiding Officer, the effects on a push for autonomy on the youths of Tobago should be one of the most important things on the national agenda, which it seems not to be. Madam Presiding Officer, in a Tobago News article dated June 18th of 2024 on page 11, speaks about how heartbreaking it is to know that Trinidad-based artists are treated as kings and queens, while Tobago artists are treated as dirt. Imagine, just imagine, our own Tobago artists have not yet been paid for the last jazz festival that was hosted by the THA.
Please give way. Chief Secretary.
Madam Presiding Officer, I stand on a point of clarification. The member for Darrell Spring Wind said that the singers from the Tobago Jazz Festival had not yet been paid. But the Secretary for Tourism, Culture, Transport and Antiquities, Assemblyman Tashia Boris, she stated in the 19th plenary sitting that all singers and performers, both local and foreign, were all paid, and an allocated amount of $4.2 million were contributed to all the singers.
Thank you, Chief Secretary. Member, you may now finish your presentation.
Madam Presiding Officer, is it that Michael Bolton, Tony Braxton, and the other international artists have protested for their monies? Because the Tobagonians have. Madam Presiding Officer, how can we be talking about securing Tobago, our own space, when at times the cultural space for some Tobagonians is most times paved thorns? Madam Presiding Officer, after doing my research, I would agree with the Honorable Chief Secretary on the push for autonomy for Tobago. But, Madam Presiding Officer, have the members on the other side taken into consideration that Tobago's small economy may not generate enough revenue to support full self-governance without continued dependence on Trinidad? Madam Presiding Officer, tourism is the island's primary industry, which can be volatile and very seasonal. Madam Presiding Officer, a lack of economic diversity could make self-governance financially unsustainable. Madam Presiding Officer, with these few words, allow me to warn Tobagonians that this attempt may be a Trojan horse. I thank you.
Councillor Chevelle Barton, you may now join the debate.
Madam Presiding Officer, I seek leave and at Standing Order 42.6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Madam Presiding Officer, my fellow assemblymen, honorable members from the other side, and my fellow citizens in the gallery, good morning. Today, I stand strong in the resilience of my forefathers and in the power of what it means to be a Tobagonian. I am here to let you know that autonomy will only bring good for youths like me. Madam Presiding Officer, those study the people who worried about political separation and those who say they don't know how we're going to make it. You see, this motion is key to making Tobago her strongest, her richest, and her most blessed. Madam Presiding Officer, Tobago's economy has long been overshadowed by Trinidad, despite our abundant resources.
Imagine being labeled as the second most desirable island in 2022 and the third in 2023 by Wanderlust Reader Awards, but being unable to build our infrastructure because Daddy Trinidad has the last say. Madam Presiding Officer, does Trinidad know about the history of the silk tree in Cassara? Can they make Benabol and cassava pond? Are they aware that we have the second largest breeding coral and one of the oldest forest reserves in the world? Can they carry a torch of the village harvest and the Blue Food Festival? Where will we be in 10 years if we, as Tobagonians, don't take charge of what belongs to us? Madam Presiding Officer, I believe that autonomy means that as youths, my leaders in Tobago can make decisions that will showcase my history and cultural identity so that we can prove why my island of Tobago is so unique and why she is so loved. My autonomy will enable Tobago to take control of its cultural and environmental policies, ensuring that its youth inherit a rich, unblemished legacy of pride in their identity. Madam Presiding Officer, autonomy means that as youth, we can create new industries. Imagine building a marina in Charlottesville or an eco-hub in Buku. Imagine ziplining from Glasgow in Palatavere or to the jetty, or micro malls to small businesses in every community. Madam Presiding Officer, Trinidad has failed to take care of us, so hear me loud and clear. Tobagonians have our own voice, let Tobagonians have our own voice, manage our own resources, because we can take better care of our own people. Let we have autonomy so that it will no longer be Trinidad and Tobago, but Tobago and Trinidad. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Assemblyman Kavachim, you may now join the debate.
Madam Presiding Officer, I seek leave at Standing Order 42-6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
Thank you. Madam Presiding Officer, colleagues on the opposing side, and visitors in the gallery, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to address you on this intriguing topic. Madam Presiding Officer, I'm hearing a lot of talk about autonomy and how it would benefit us here and there, but no action to back it up. Now, while I am for Tobago becoming autonomous, my main concern lies in the area of implementation. Madam Presiding Officer, have your goodly people on the other side formulated an implementation plan for Tobago to transition seamlessly into a self-sufficient body of people? This administration has a reputation for lots of talk and no action. It's time to walk the talk. According to Lucid Software, an implementation plan is a document that outlines how a project or idea will be put into action. It's more detailed than a project plan and focuses on the practical steps, resources, and timeline needed to execute the specific goal or initiative. The specific goal here is autonomy for Tobago. Folks, We cannot be running down to Trinidad like headless chickens, clamoring for autonomy for our island and not have a studied implementation plan for such. Madam Presiding Officer, allow me to expound on some of these key aspects of an implementation plan. A step-by-step guide that breaks down the project into smaller, actionable steps, ensuring everyone understands the pathway to autonomy. Small, actionable steps that address the continued access to education, job security, healthcare, and food security on the island of Tobago. If not handled with due diligence and care, these are some of the areas that may be negatively affected. The youths of Tobago, should we enter into autonomy unprepared? Resource allocation. We need to identify the resources, that is all the people, the skill sets, the tools needed, and the required budget for each initial step into the drive for autonomy. Timeline and milestones. Did we set clear deadlines and milestones to track our progress as we work towards becoming a self-sufficient body of people? Communication plan. I heard the area representative for BlackRock mention that autonomy will allow Tobago's youth to play a crucial role in deciding Tobago's governance. However, I am unsure how this would be achieved. What detailed communication plan has been documented that would reach every youth so that conversations would be had about their self-governance? It cannot be 1 or 2 town hall meetings, a visit to a debate as being held here today. Our communication must reach the non-student, the non-reader, the youth that are not so tech-savvy, and the working class. Everybody. Risk assessment. We must identify the potential risk to branching out on our own contingency plans for those risks. In conclusion, these are just a few key aspects that our implementation plan should address. Let us not put the cart before the horse, I beg. Madam Presiding Officer, I thank you.
Assemblyman Elisha Dick, you may now join the debate.
Madam Presiding Officer, I seek leave at Standing Order 42-6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
Madam Presiding Officer, honorable members of the House, distinguished guests, fellow Tobagonians, good morning. Today, I want to speak in support of Tobago's push for autonomy, focusing on how this movement will positively impact our island's youth. Madam Presiding Officer, as the future of Tobago, our youth stand to gain significantly from greater autonomy. Madam Presiding Officer, Tobago's autonomy drive has reignited political interest among young people. As outlined in Newsday's article, Youth in Politics, a call for generational leadership, young Tobagonians are stepping up, seeking to shape the island's future rather than simply inheriting it. Autonomy creates opportunities for local leadership and decision-making. It empowers youth to actively participate in democratic processes, voice their concerns, and contribute to policies that reflect their realities. Madam Presiding Officer, under autonomy, the Tobago House of Assembly gains greater control over policies that directly affect the youth, such as education, employment, and entrepreneurship. The THA's Youth Empowerment Strategy, yes, 2020, emphasizes in the draft report youth entrepreneurship, digital skills, and leadership training. Autonomy allows these programs to expand and adapt rapidly to Tobago's specific needs. without waiting for national approvals or funding delays from Port of Spain. Madam Presiding Officer, increased autonomy means more control over Tobago's economy. This translates to job creation, especially in tourism, technology, and sustainable industries. According to the IFES Youth Learning Agenda Report 2025, youth who are included in economic planning are more resilient, innovative, and socially responsible. Autonomy gives the tools to invest in youth-driven businesses, vocational training, and green technologies that directly benefit young people. Madam Presiding Officer, lastly, autonomy gives young Tobagonians the chance to shape the kind of island they want to live in. According to the UNICEF Generation Unlimited fact sheet, young people want education, access to employment, and leadership roles. With more authority, Tobago can design policies that respond directly to youth voices. To the critics who see Tobago's autonomy movement as divisive or premature, I say this: our youth are not waiting for permission to lead. Autonomy is not just a political goal, it's a generational necessity. It is the framework through which we can build an inclusive, innovative, and empowered Tobago, led by the very youth whose future hangs in the balance. Let us not delay progress. Let us push for autonomy, for the youth of Tobago, and for the generations to come. Thank you.
Assemblyman Zafia Connell, you may now join the debate.
Good morning, Madam Presiding Officer, honorable members of the House, and everyone tuning in or sitting here today. I stand proudly as the representative of Belgarden Glamorgan to speak in support of something powerful, giving Tobago greater autonomy. Madam Presiding Officer, I seek leave at Standing Order 42.6 to read extract from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
I stand proudly as a representative of Belgarden Glamorgan to speak in support of something powerful, giving Tobago greater autonomy. That means more freedom to make our own decisions and better chances for young people like me. Now, Madam Presiding Officer, let's start with the facts because facts don't lie. Did you know that more than 4 out of every 10 people on our island are young? That's about 24,800 young Tobagonians. We are not just the future anymore. We are the architects of Tobago's destiny. But here's the problem. Too many young people are struggling to find proper jobs. The youth unemployment rate is double the national average. A recent survey showed that 85% of young people said jobs are limited, the economy is slow, or they get left out just because they don't have enough experience. Madam Presiding Officer, how are we supposed to get experience if nobody hires us? This is where autonomy becomes so important. With autonomy, Tobago can develop more industries rather than relying on tourism or revenue from oil and gas in Trinidad. We can grow in areas like technology, fashion, renewable energy, or even building apps. Imagine this, a group of teenagers from Tobago launching the next big Caribbean app right from Scarborough, or building solar panels in Bloody Bay. Madam Presiding Officer, these are not just big dreams, they can be real, with the power to make our own decisions. We already have good plans like the THA Youth Empowerment Strategy, and with autonomy we can say yes, even louder. It trains us to be smart, skilled, and confident.
We can learn tech, mechanics, business, and everything we need to thrive, not just survive. Technical and vocational education and training programs are also awesome. They teach us real skills like how to run a business, fix things, and even become financially smart. But autonomy means we can make these programs bigger, better, and made just for Tobago's needs. And let's talk about something young people are really excited about: starting their own business. Whether it's making coconut oil or selling frozen crab and dumplings, we need support to turn our dreams into reality. Groups and units like Netco, BDU, and REACH are already helping. But imagine what Tobago could do with more investments, more training, and more belief in us as innovators, leaders, and job creators, not just job hunters. So, Madam Presiding Officer, I say this: autonomy is not just a political idea, it's a powerful move. It means a better economy, better opportunities, and a better Tobago for young people, by young people. Let's give Tobago the freedom to grow, create, lead, and succeed. Let's say yes to autonomy and say yes to our future. And may the next tech CEO come from Tobago. Thank you.
Councillor Kiana Serrat, you may now join the debate.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer, for the opportunity to speak in this debate. I want to take this time to greet my colleagues, members opposite, and visitors in the gallery. Good morning. I am elated to add my voice to discuss the effects of the push for autonomy on the youth of Tobago. Let me first seek leave, Madam Presiding Officer, at Standing Order 42.6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
Madam Presiding Officer, I proudly join with my colleagues in wholehearted argument to the motion before us. Madam Presiding Officer, Tobagonians were always known for their friendly nature and high moral standard. In many respects, that is under threat, as we can't even take fully responsibility for securing our borders and protecting the people that visit our sunny isles. We should be able to protect our tourists. They are a critical source of income and opportunity for growth. Imagine concerned citizens Gordon laughing in a letter to the editor dated September the 21st, 2024, pointing out that, statistically speaking, Tobago's crime rate per capita is fast rivaling that of Trinidad, and this matter of great concern as Tobago's race crime rate poses a significant threat to the island's reputation as a safe and welcoming destination for tourists, and if this trend is not addressed urgently, it can lead to a decline in tourism, a vital economic driver for the island. But not only that, Madam Presiding Officer, we, as an island state, should be able to protect our people from criminal elements that seek to spoil them. What about the pirates and the so-called National Coast Guard that have to borrow the same fisherman's boat because they never have boats? What about the fact that the elements are coming from Big Sister herself and even around the Caribbean, setting up shops and influencing our young people because our borders have more holes than my granny's coconut grater? Instead of the greatest little island, it seems that we are the greatest little highway for criminals. We reject this, and we want a chance to reject it strongly by making laws which consider our context and represent our values. And on the topic spaces, our beaches, our reefs, and our wetlands are environmentally sensitive spaces which are core elements of our tourism product. We need to have greater control over how we present and protect our spaces. Can you think of all the ways which is this a win? Municipal police, opportunities, and job creation. When we are clean, green, safe, and serene, it is a huge boost for our economy. And colleagues, we very well know when our parents' pocket wins, we all win. How many of you here have thought about how your home bills will be paid or what you will eat or drink or do next? This isn't your concern right now because someone does it for you. But in a few years from now, when you marry and create your own football side, your thinking will be different. Living in the shadow of Trinidad is not adequately allowed us to protect ourselves, but we have a chance to secure our generation and the next. Autonomy will have positive impacts on job creation, revenue, and the overall safety and security of our island. We must not be cowards and miss this benefit. Madam Presiding Officer, I thank you.
Assemblyman Kishon Grant, you may now join the debate.
Madam Presiding Officer, I seek leave at Standing Order 42-6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Presiding Officer, colleagues, members of the opposite side, and visitors from the gallery. Today, I stand here proudly in support of Tobago's push for autonomy. Not just because it's a political matter, but because it's a matter of hope, opportunity, and future, especially for the youths of Tobago. Let's begin with a simple truth. When young people feel seen, heard, and empowered, they thrive. But for too long, Tobagonians have felt like a forgotten footnote in national decisions. This fight for autonomy is not just about governance. It's about giving Tobago's youth a seat at the table, and that changes everything. Firstly, more resources, better education. With autonomy, Tobago will have greater control over its own budget. This means more funding can go directly into Tobago's schools, libraries, and youth programs, not just the leftovers from Trinidad. Better schools mean better futures for us. According to former Senator Mr. Ansel Dennis on Tobago Update's morning show, the money allocated can be spent in utilizing Tobago contractors, Tobago talent, Tobago skills, Tobago labor, and Tobago businesses to conduct development. Secondly, more representation, stronger voices. Tobago autonomy also means Tobago's youth get to shape policies that affect them. Right now, too many of our decisions are made by people miles away who don't live our reality. Autonomy means we can have local youth councils and direct involvement in development plans. Our young people will learn the power of civic engagement, not just watching government happen, but being part of it. Thirdly, cultural pride and identity. Autonomy allows us to celebrate and preserve what makes Tobago unique. Our history, our dialect, our festivals, and our values. When young people grow up in a society that honors its people, grow up in a society that honors its culture and heritage, they grow up with pride.
Autonomy gives us the freedom to teach our story from our perspective. That builds confidence, identity, and unity among the next generation. In conclusion, most importantly, autonomy will allow Tobago to shape its own economic future. More local control means investing in Tobago's small businesses, opening doors for youth employment. No more waiting on Port of Spain to decide what's best for us. We decide, we invest, we grow. So I ask you this: why shouldn't Tobagonian youth be given the same power to dream and build as any other child in this country? Why shouldn't they grow up in a Tobago that has the authority to make its own future? Tobago autonomy is not just political, it's personal, it's generational, and it's essential for the progress of our youth. Let us give Tobago the autonomy it deserves, and in doing so, give our young people the future they deserve. Thank you.
Assemblyman Johanna Brown, you may now join the debate.
Madam Presiding Officer, I seek leave and standing order 42-6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
Good morning, Madam Presiding Officer, esteemed colleagues, fellow youths, and viewers in the gallery. It is indeed a privilege to contribute to this motion in this hollow chamber. Let me start off with a powerful quote which resonates deeply with me, and I hope it affects all present and seated here today. It says, "Young people must have their voices heard at all times. We cannot be passive participants in the conversations about our future. We must get active and create the future the way we want it." Madam Presiding Officer, the pursuit of greater autonomy for Tobago presents an opportunity to empower our generation. I will now examine its potential effects on employment, education, civic engagement, and social mobility, so we can understand how autonomy can positively shape our future. Employment opportunities. Madam Presiding Officer, with greater autonomy comes the responsibility to provide for more of our basic responsibilities on the island. Even in the Assembly Legislature, we will now require greater legal and administrative support as we build out the framework to facilitate our lawmaking powers. This will create a demand for legal practitioners, both senior and junior, and the necessary supporting staff, increasing overall employment opportunities. Educational advancement. Education is a cornerstone of youth development. Although the Tobago House of Assembly already has control over education, with autonomy, Tobago could tailor educational curricula to align with local industries and cultural heritage, enhancing relevance and engagement. Additionally, increased funding and resources could improve educational infrastructure, benefiting students across the island. Civic engagement and leadership. Madam Presiding Officer, the National Youth Policy emphasizes the importance of youth participation in governance. Madam Presiding Officer, in a documented National Youth Policy, it encouraged us to understand that youth involvement should not be a mere token, but should represent a serious effort to have the opinions of our most vulnerable heard and acted upon. The young people of Trinidad and Tobago must feel that their contributions to the national development are valued, and that all categories of youth are included in the development processes. Madam Presiding Officer, what this therefore means is that autonomy would provide a platform for youth to actively engage in contributing to the decision-making processes, fostering a sense of responsibility and inclusiveness. This involvement would ensure we have a generation of informed and active citizens. And Madam Presiding Officer, I would like to personally commend the Assembly Legislature for giving a voice to some of the youngest in our population to contribute to such an important public discussion. Social mobility. Madam Presiding Officer, greater autonomy could lead to the development policies that directly address local challenges such as access to healthcare, housing, and transportation. By focusing on Tobago's specific needs, increased autonomy gives us the ability to reduce disparities and promote social mobility, ensuring that all youth have equal opportunities to succeed. Madam Presiding Officer, as I wrap up, I must affirm my position in support of this motion. Undeniably, as previously stated by my colleagues and myself, the push for autonomy offers a brighter pathway to a brighter future for Tobago's youth. By granting us the tools to shape our destiny, autonomy empowers us to build a prosperous and more inclusive society. Madam Presiding Officer, I urge those opposite to support this motion. Let us join together to embrace this opportunity to lead and create a Tobago that truly reflects our aspirations. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Assemblyman Dominique Hall, you may now join the debate.
Madam Presiding Officer, I seek leave at Standing Order 42-6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Colleagues, members of the other side, viewers in the gallery, and those online, a pleasant good morning to you. My first order of business is to thank the people of Bethesda Lescatu for placing their confidence in me to represent them. Thank you very much. Madam Presiding Officer, it is no secret that this fight for Tobago's autonomy is a long-standing issue. Decade after decade, philosophy after philosophy, bill after bill. We still have not been able to attain our fair share at the sister isle to Trinidad. As a matter of fact, in this quest for Tobago's autonomy, several misconceptions have been created about its definition and what it really means. So let me start by defining what autonomy for Tobago really means. Contrary to popular belief, autonomy for us in Tobago does not mean separation from Trinidad. For the average Tobagonian, it means the ability to manage our social, cultural, and economic affairs to the extent by which we are able to create laws, policies, and national priorities based on our own values, culture, and needs. It is also important to indicate that this concept of autonomy is related to the human right of self-determination. Doesn't Tobago, we people, deserve the right to make decisions on the type of government and structure that is more suited for our island's realities? Madam Presiding Officer, while this matter is a very diverse one, allow me to highlight some key areas in which autonomy can benefit the youth of Tobago. Firstly, autonomy for Tobago will allow us to design curricula that will celebrate our local Creole language, culture, history, and future goals. Can you imagine having Tobago-centric textbooks that will teach us about our heroic forefathers and mothers who fought hard to be where we are today? This will most certainly help our youth to build a stronger sense of identity and purpose. Secondly, in an autonomous country, young people have more leadership roles in civic life and entrepreneurship because there are more opportunities tailored to their society's needs. For far too long, Madam Presiding Officer, our Tobago people have been treated with a broad brush approach where we settle for jobs that are informed and created by a cabinet in Trinidad by people who can't even identify with what it means to be Tobagonian. How can this even be ethically right? Thirdly, autonomy for Tobago will contribute to the country's overall security and peace. A country that can control their borders and internal affairs will be able to provide a more secure and stable environment, which is crucial for youth development. Look at our current crime situation. We are no longer feeling safe enough to traverse our streets, engage in evening classes, or even travel at certain times. How long will we live in fear? Madam Presiding Officer, my last but pertinent point is that it reduces the risk of external political or economic control that often exploits youth labor or natural resources. Even our very own tongue and country is managed by our Trinidad counterparts. As young people, when will we be able to do official business in the bank on the lands our forefathers and mothers left for us? Madam Presiding Officer, I don't know about those on the other side, but I will love to see it happen in my lifetime. In conclusion, autonomy for Tobago will give us young people the tools, opportunities, and environments to thrive, innovate, and lead. It will create a foundation for us to not just be the leaders of tomorrow, but active, empowered participants of today. Madam Presiding Officer, I thank you.
Assemblyman Sidney Paul, you may now join the debate. Good morning, Madam Presiding Officer, my colleagues, Clerk of the House, Assemblymen and women, councillors, and to the viewing public. Madam Presiding Officer, I seek leave at Standing Order 42-6 to read extracts from my speech. Member, the leave is granted. According to 1 Corinthians 13 to 11, because I am a child. Because I am a child, I speak like a child, I reason like a child. But when I become a woman, I will put away childish things. Please understand that my statement is in no way to belittle our sweet Tobago, but to show that we need time for our island to transition from its immature behavior to one of maturity. To become a true autonomous entity, we must first look at our ability to overcome our mental and financial dependence on Trinidad. Too many times I hear my Chief Secretary and her colleagues lament about how they have been wronged by Trinidad. But what point do we as Tobagonians stand strong with our pride and resilience to find a way through or around our challenges? We need to show true leadership and stop crying like a big baby. Tobago needs to step into a place of improving our self-sufficiency, especially through food production. I remember my mother saying how her grandpa would bring home a whole harvest from his garden and how her grandma would bake 20 loaves of bread every Saturday. But today, no boat means no bread. Our hands so frail that we cannot work on land, produce our food, and eat what we grow. We need to have self-discipline and accountability, like the former president, the Honorable Anthony Carmona, said about powers. Imagine this very THA under the 5th schedule is a list longer than my arm, with areas they are responsible for. Why are we responsible for food production with the bare minimum being produced? We are responsible for education, but our very own culture is not even taught at our schools. How else would our generation understand why this island was so sweet that they had to fight over her no less than 32 times? We
have some powers we cannot control of. But we insist in asking for more. No parent will give an irresponsible child their inheritance. Least we squander it like a prodigal son. We should enforce what we have and work on being accountable and disciplined before we shake this country's constitution. Addressing potential conflicts. While in the long term, Tobago's autonomy can become beneficial to our sweet Tobago, but in the short term, it runs the risk of reducing opportunities for the use of this island. Can we say, at this time, we can sustain ourselves with enough revenue to provide the use through development and education? While autonomy will still provide greater control of the environment, it will not also provide greater revenue. We have to work on advancing our sectors that would generate enough revenue, such as tourism, light manufacturing, and agriculture before we take such a great leap. Right now, it is our time to grow, take hold of our transformation, and ensure that we put Tobago in a position that can endure any situation that may arise. Even though we may seem young and inexperienced, we can still bind together to ensure that Tobago remains the greatest little island on the planet. For everything, there's a season and a time. But for Tobago's autonomy, it is not yet our time. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Assemblyman Enrique Villafana, you may now join the debate.
Madam Presiding Officer, I seek leave at Standing Order 42-6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Madam Presiding Officer, my fellow assemblymen, honorable members of the other side, my fellow citizens in the gallery, good morning. Madam Presiding Officer, autonomy means for Tobago the right to make our own decisions without the agreement of Trinidad. I have heard that dogs are only bad in the yard. And today, Madam Presiding Officer, I'm being abandoned for my Tobago. In 1962, when Dr. Eric Williams addressed the newly autonomous nation, he said, "You are now a member of the Commonwealth family in your own right, equal in status to any other of its members. You are nobody's boss, and nobody is your boss." Yet, here we are in 2025, unable to be our own boss, because Trinidad has its construction boots on our throat. Madam Presiding Officer, autonomy is a must, or we as Tobagonians will bust. It is time enough that we challenge the status of dependency and seek our autonomy. It is time for us to challenge who they have said we are and become who we should be. Autonomy means for use that we can finally create vocational trainings aligned with Tobago's local industries, like tourism, agriculture, and marine services. Tobago's children should see our heritage in our textbooks. We should see people like them being a success. We should enjoy the opportunities that children from Trinidad are exposed to. They too deserve a voice. So today, I will use my voice to bark until I am heard, bark until autonomy is given. Because Tobago is more than a vacation spot. Tobago is more than the nice food Tobago is more than the greenery. Madam Presiding Officer, Tobago is me and you. Tobago is us. Tobago is more than we have allowed her to be. So as I close, let us not get weary with the fight for autonomy, but rather bark so that our voices are heard. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Minority Councillor Danny Groger, you may now join the debate.
Madam Presiding Officer, I seek leave at Standing Order 42.6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Good morning, Madam Presiding Officer, teachers, parents, my fellow colleagues, and everyone here today. The motion we're debating asks us if the push for greater autonomy will really make things a lot better for young people like me right here in Tobago. My team stands here today to tell you, no, it won't be that simple, and it might even bring some more challenges. Let us all think of it like this. Imagine you have a favorite toy. Let's say a remote control car. You might think, if you only had the controller all to yourself, you can make it do amazing new tricks. But what if the car still needs special batteries from someone else? Or what if you don't know how to make it do those amazing tricks yet? That's a bit like this idea of autonomy for Tobago. While it sounds good to have more control here at home, we believe it won't be the magic solution for young Tobagonians. Let me tell you why. Firstly, autonomy won't magically give Tobago superpowers. Right now, a lot of big decisions and a lot of money for Tobago comes from the main government in Trinidad. The idea of autonomy is that we get to make more of those decisions and handle more of that money right here in Tobago. But here's the thing, Madam Presiding Officer, will it make things faster? Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes trying to do everything yourself can take even longer, especially if you need to set all new ways of doing things. Imagine if our schools had to suddenly print all its own textbooks and make all its own rules without any help. That's a lot of work. Do we have all the experts to run everything from schools to hospitals to job programs? You need lots of very smart people with different skills. Does Tobago have enough of those experts right now to suddenly take on all those big jobs perfectly? We might need more training and more people, and that takes time and money. Simply changing the rules doesn't give us those people or the know-how overnight. Secondly, more control doesn't mean more money or more jobs just like that. Madam Presiding Officer, the biggest problem for many young people in Tobago is finding good jobs when they finish school or having exciting things to do. Autonomy won't suddenly create tons of new jobs to make Tobago super rich. Where does the money come from? Tobago still gets a lot of its money from Trinidad. Autonomy won't automatically mean we'll start making way more money on our own, like finding a secret treasure. Our economy is mostly about tourism. While tourism is wonderful, it doesn't guarantee that the talented young Tobagonians will stay here, which is what we really need for our future. And finally, have we, the young people, truly been asked what we want? This talk about autonomy often happens in big political meetings, But how many young people our age or even slightly older have really been asked, what do you need? What are your dreams for Tobago? How do you think autonomy will help you? All voices are important. If the push for autonomy isn't truly built on what young people need and want, then even if it happens, it might not fix the things that matters most to us. We need better schools, more exciting activities, safe places to play, and opportunities to learn new skills. These things are important.
Member, your speaking time has expired. Minority Leader.
Madam Presiding Officer, I beg to move that additional speaking time of 1 minute be given to the member to finish her presentation.
Honorable members, the question put is that an additional minute of speaking time be given to the member to finish her presentation. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any against say no. No. The noes have it. Member, you may not finish your presentation. Assemblyman Kenaya Jofield, you may now join the debate.
Madam Presiding Officer, I thank you for allowing me to join this timely and critical debate. Let me take this opportunity to seek leave as Standing Order 42.6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
Greetings to you, my esteemed colleagues, members opposite, and to those visiting us in the public gallery. No right-thinking, well-meaning citizen who loves and cherishes this beautiful island could ever sit here in this august chamber and reject internal self-government for Tobago. Madam Presiding Officer, that is why I proudly support the motion, and with my whole chest, say yes. Madam Presiding Officer, yes, for when we, the people of this island gem, cradle our destiny fully, like a babe in the arms for the first time, we will proudly proclaim, as every good mother admits, it was well worth it. Imagine how beautiful it would be for the jig and the tambourine to be a part of our educational experience, and not just once in a while. Imagine what would happen if Tobago's children learn the true depth of Tobago's history through more than just a cursory mention in the textbooks, in which we have little input. I heard the member for Lambo Lowlands discuss the absence of proper planning for implementation, but his good self failed to realize that public education, which has been and is occurring, is a critical component of the process of implementation and change management. The very fact that we are here in this august chamber represents that very plan, colleagues. Before this sitting, Madam Presiding Officer and my dear friends, the truth is that many of us, if not all of us, all our parents, teachers, and community members did not have a full grasp of what is done here or the issues involved in the day-to-day management of our space. A media release from the Division of Education, Research and Technology dated April 30th, 2024 that indicated that a 12-member committee was set up with a mandate to develop a Tobago-centric curriculum to not only preserve our heritage, but to develop the next generation of passionate Tobagonian citizens. The article by Stefan Nicholas, found in a Newsday dated May 2nd, 2024, goes on to highlight the areas of focus and the fact that it is the intent of the division to capitalize on autonomy to continue to propel this important effort. Madam Presiding Officer, a plan and timeline was set. A committee was appointed. A pilot plan for school was designed. A plan for revelation, review, and further consultation was set. All is for rollout in September of 2025. The Secretary herself notes that education has almost become totally essay-driven, with students entering secondary school deficient and entering the world without the tools needed to manage in life. Madam Presiding Officer, indeed, I will not want that. And if we really don't want it, we must reject the very thought that Tobago isn't ready and Tobago cannot do it. That would be a serious slap in the face to the giants of democracy and good governance gracing the hollowed walls of this very chamber. Autonomy means that we will be more fully able to charter a path for the inculcation of the Tobago identity into our island children, because being Tobagonian isn't just about living in Tobago space. Tobago's children need to own their distinct identity, and to own it, we have to learn it. Imagine the Tobago Creole with its rich depth and saying of our parents is almost obsolete. Like when pig tell him mama in nose on and mama tell her, I come. A saying which simply means that those of life's trials that haven't yet met you have not passed you. So don't judge anyone's experiences too harshly. And we should not judge our island's ability to govern itself based on one or two missteps. If we are really serious about education in Tobago, we must be autonomy-minded. The Honorable Chief Secretary mentioned our rich and unique heritage that we will have an opportunity.
Member, your speaking time has expired. Chief Secretary.
Madam Presiding Officer, I beg to move that additional speaking time of 1 minute be given to the member to finish her presentation.
Honorable members, the question put is that an additional minute of speaking time be given to the member to finish her presentation. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any against say no? No. The ayes have it. Member, you may finish your presentation.
The Chief Secretary mentioned our rich and unique heritage that we will have an opportunity to pass on through a Tobago-centric curriculum. Let's do it for the children. I thank you.
Assemblyman Ruth George, you may now join the debate.
Madam Presiding Officer, I seek leave at Standing Order 42-6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. I acknowledge all my colleagues, whether on the minority or majority bench, the persons in the visitors gallery and those online. Madam Presiding Officer, as I stand to contribute to this debate, I am fascinated by the proposed resolution that calls for an examination on the effects on the youth that this push for autonomy would bring. Madam Presiding Officer, I applaud this honorable House for seeking the opinion of those outside the remit of universal adult suffrage. No one in the Tobago House of Assembly or central government has ever thought that our collective voices was worth hearing. Madam Presiding Officer, we little, but we talawa. In a letter to the editor, as published in Newsday on November 15, 2024, Mr. Kino Sami wrote, Tobago Bill, an illusion of autonomy. Well said, proper chat, an illusion indeed. In my best super blue voice, get something on wave. A push for autonomy without deep thought, fair-mindedness, examination of macroeconomic policies, dependent separation from central government for funding and stemming the brain drain of our brightest minds. Madam Presiding Officer, let further add that no push for autonomy can be complete or successful until the identity and heritage of Tobago is secured for future generations. critical because there is a risk that our heritage, values, Tobagonianness can be lost by any continued dominance of Tobago by Trinidad owing to its supremacist mindset in economic and government affairs. A commitment to this has not been demonstrated by the loud voices on the other side. Madam Presiding Officer, I thank you.
Assemblyman Kimali Campbell, you may now join the debate.
Good morning, Madam Presiding Officer, my fellow colleagues, those on the other side, and our visitors in the gallery. Madam Presiding Officer, I seek leave at Standing Order 42-6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
My name is Kimali Campbell, and I stand proudly today to argue that Tobago should remain united with Trinidad, just as we are. Now, you may hear from the other side that autonomy is the best path forward for Tobago. But before you are swept away by that idea, let us pause and ask, is autonomy really what's best for Tobago? Or unity with Trinidad? Or is unity with Trinidad still the smarter choice? Let's start with the meaning. Autonomy means more power to govern ourselves, more decisions made locally. Sounds good, but at what cost? Right now, by working with Trinidad, Tobago gets more money, more resources, more national support for important things like schools, roads, hospitals, infrastructure, and tourism. Without that partnership, Tobago would need to find all those resources on its own, and we are not yet fully prepared for that. More autonomy will mean more spending, more new government departments, and possibly more taxes on our people. Is that what we want for our families and the future of the island? My answer is no. Some people say that autonomy will make us more independent, but Tobago already enjoys a strong level of self-governance through the Tobago House of Assembly. We already make many of our own decisions. The truth is, we don't need full autonomy to be proud Tobagonians. We can be proud while still working as a part of a nation, Trinidad and Tobago. I must address another key point. The other side may argue that autonomy will help us move faster, fix local problems better, but let's be honest, going it alone can often slow us down. Creating new systems from scratch takes time, money, and resources we would otherwise use to build schools, support teachers, improve healthcare, and create jobs. Would we rather spend those years building new government systems, or would we rather spend those years building a better Tobago? Another thing to consider is our national identity. We are not two nations, we are one. Trinidad and Tobago. We share a common history, culture, and future. Our national motto reminds us, together we aspire, together we achieve. Separating too far from Trinidad weakens that unity and weakens us all. Finally, let me remind you, autonomy may sound exciting, but it comes with real risk. Risk to our economy, risk to our development, and risk to our unity. Why take those risks when you are already moving forward together? In conclusion, I see this clearly. Tobago doesn't need full autonomy to succeed. Tobago needs a strong leadership, wise cooperation, and a united nation. By working with Trinidad, we will continue to build a better Tobago for our children, our families, and for generations to come. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Chief Secretary, Assemblyman Zamar Chapman, you may now wrap up this debate.
Madam Presiding Officer, I seek leave at Standing Order 42.6 to read extracts from my speech.
Member, the leave is granted.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Honorable members of this august House, thank you for giving me this opportunity to close this debate. As we come to the end of this vital conversation, let us take a moment not just to reflect, but to stand firm in conviction. This is more than just a political proposal. This is more than a policy debate. This is a call for justice, for fairness, and for the true partnership in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. They say autonomy will divide us, but I say autonomy is not division. Autonomy is not separation, rebellion, or destruction of unity. It is fair. It is balanced. It is respect. Tobago is not asking to leave the country. We are asking to lead ourselves in areas that affect our daily lives. That is not a threat to national unity. That is a sign of mature democracy. Mature enough that Daddy Trinidad go want to give we a he inheritance. What we are asking for, wait, let me rephrase that. What we are demanding is what every nation deserves. The ability to govern themselves with dignity, to make decisions with confidence, and to build our own future with the help of Tobagonians. For far too long, Tobago has existed in the shadows of central authorities. We've waited on budgets. We've waited on approval. We've waited on respect. And while we waited, our roads crumbled. Our youth searched for opportunities. And our dreams were delayed. Autonomy is the answer to that delay. They say be patient. We have been, for decades, Tobagonians have been patient. We have followed the rules, gone through the channels, and submitted proposals. But still we remain under the thumb of a system that does not trust us to lead ourselves. We are not just children. We are the future of this nation. Autonomy for Tobago. Autonomy, I say. Give us autonomy. Give us today. Autonomy for me, for you, for all are we, and for you, Mr. Minority Leader. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Honorable members, the question put is, whereas the pursuit of greater autonomy for Tobago has been a long-standing issue with ongoing discussions on its political, economic, and social implications, and whereas the youth of Tobago represent the island's future and will be the primary beneficiaries or challengers of any legislative and governance changes that result from this autonomy push, and whereas autonomy has the potential to create new opportunities in governance, education, entrepreneurship, and cultural development that directly impact young people, and whereas there are concerns about whether the youth are sufficiently informed, engaged, and prepared to navigate the changes that autonomy may bring. Be it resolved, this House examines the effects on the youth for the push on autonomy for Tobago by examining its impact on employment, education, civic engagement, and social mobility on the island. And be it further resolved, this House supports the youth active involvement in shaping Tobago's autonomous future. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any against say no. The ayes have it. Motion carried. Clerk.
Motion for adjournment.
Leader of Assembly Business.
Madam Presiding Officer, I beg to move that this House stands adjourned for a date to be fixed.
Honorable members, the question put is that this House stands adjourned for a date to be fixed. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any against say no. The ayes have it. This House now stands adjourned for a date to be fixed.
Deputy Chief Secretary and Secretary for Health, Wellness and Social Protection, Dr. Faye. Acting Chief Administrator of the THA, Mr. Carl Murray, and all other administrators, Clerk of the Assembly, Mr. Lincoln Nelson, members of the media, young but passionate debaters, specially invited guests, industrious and diligent teachers, committed and focus-driven parents, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am Sienna Rupchand, and it is truly my honor and delight to guide you through the closing ceremony of the Assembly Legislature's second annual primary plenary debates. Today is more than a debate. It is a living, breathing celebration of our island's rich democratic journey. And what a fitting moment as the Assembly Legislature proudly marks 200 years of legislative history this year. Can you believe it? This very chamber where you now sit, where voices rise, ideas clash, and democracy lives, turned 200 years old on April 23rd, 2025. Just take a moment to soak that in. The very words around us has echoed with 2 centuries of leadership, decision-making, and the dreams of Tobagonians, past and present. Let me see how many of you knew that. Raise your hands. And to our viewers online, drop a raise hand emoji in the comment section. As we honor this milestone, it is only right that we shine a light on the bright, bold voices of our youth, because they, too, are now a part of this history. Let us continue the celebration. Welcome to the closing ceremony. Without further ado, we invite Mr. Lincoln Nelson, Clerk of the Assembly, to bring you a warm welcome. We now invite to bring remarks a dedicated leader who is shaping the future through education, Assemblyman Zarisha Hackett, Secretary of Education, Research and Technology.
Allow me to stand on the already established protocols. But let me wish a hearty good morning to the future leaders of Tobago. Good morning, Assemblymen, councillors, and of course you, Madam Presiding Officer. Good morning. Please excuse my voice. But I want you to know that Tobago and all of Trinidad and Tobago is extremely proud of you, and we start by congratulating you. Members of this august chamber, today isn't just an ordinary Thursday. Today is a day where history meets hope, where the voices of Tobago's youngest minds echo in this very chamber, where Tobago's destiny is shaped. And today, those voices are speaking on something bold, something sacred, Tobago's quest for self-determination. But before I go any further, allow me to express my heartfelt gratitude to our presiding officer, Miss Abby Taylor, and the hardworking staff of the Assembly, Legislature, Secretariat. Of course, as usual, stellar initiatives dubbed the People's House, and again, today is no less. Members of this Secretariat, you have not only opened the doors of what you've called the People's House, you've opened the minds of our children to the power and purpose of civic engagement. This initiative reminds all of us that democracy thrives when we make room for the next generation, just like our students in this room, to participate in. And so once again, thank you. Now I walked around the horseshoe, and I guess you students, you understand the value of this horseshoe. You understand its history. It's not a divided house in terms of the infrastructure. It's a horseshoe, and what does this mean? Is the national parliament set up like a horseshoe like this? No, Tobago has a unique feature here in our chamber. And why was the horseshoe the best concept? Who can tell me why? If I don't know where majority and minority is, would I be able to say, well, this is the last member of the majority and this is the first member of the minority by just looking at you? Yes or no? And so what is expected when you come into this house? Should your party come first? Your political organization? What should come first? The island and the people. That is called Tobago, and so it's Tobago first. And so I want you to appreciate you having a seat here in this chamber, and you're seated at the horseshoe. It's a continuous space, yeah? And so again, before I go further, allow me to recognize the contributions of teachers and of parents and all those who contributed to preparing our students for such an important debate. Parents and teachers in the room, give yourselves a round of applause. And of course, join me in putting your hands together for them. They were your support systems. You have helped to prepare Tobago's children for a debate where I sat in that corner. I was almost envious at the respect, at the confidence, at the dignity, and at the pride, yes, coming out of our young debaters, our young leaders, and so we are proud of that. Your support, your encouragement, and your investment in their growth have made today possible, and we cannot say thanks enough. These students did not arrive by accident, no. They were guided here by a community that believes in them. So now, some may ask, what does self-determination have to do with young people? It's a question we discussed here today. But I would argue, what doesn't it have to do with young people? Self-determination isn't just about laws. It isn't just about boundaries. It isn't just about budgets. No, it is about identity. It is about saying we know who we are and we know what we need and we are prepared to shape our own future. And it is the future that belongs to the youth. Then you, our youth, must surely have a hand in building it. You agree? You, our children, are not just our leaders of tomorrow. You are actually leading and you've led today. You're organizing climate marches, you're volunteering in your communities, you're speaking out about education as you did today, and you're also ensuring that equality and opportunity becomes those words that are important to us all. And so today, you have debated on the floor of this legislature, and it isn't only about leadership. It's about you identifying your role in this quest. It was about the path to self-determination, and we all know that Tobago's journey has never been an easy one. It has taken your courage, your resilience, and of course, a sacrifice for you to prepare for today. But I also want us to speak about something else. Vision. And it is this vision that must be intergenerational. We cannot talk about shaping Tobago's future if we leave out the very young people who will have to live in that future. You, my boys and girls. And this is why your presence today has been so important. You see, when you stand and you speak up, as you've done so in today's house, you are not just answering a debate. You're not just answering questions that we all are seeking answers for. You are answering a deeper call. You have answered the call to participate, the call to contribute, and of course, the call to care. But let me be clear, Tobago's journey towards self-governance will need minds like yours, creative minds, passionate minds, and minds that are brave. It will need students who question injustice just as you've done, who speak truth to power, and who believe in fairness. And of course, those of you, as you've done today, are willing to dream and dream big, not just for yourselves, but for this island that you all love. And so, today I want each of you to remember that your age does not limit your voice. And I actually want you to repeat that with me. My age does not limit my voice. And my questions are not distractions, but they are the seeds of change. And so, as Secretary of Education, I will continue to fight for spaces where you, my students, are seen, where you're heard, where you're respected, and of course, where you're valued. Not just as learners in a classroom, but as citizens of Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago by extension, with a stake in our future. I want us to walk this road together. I want to teach you that your history, which of course you've learned so much of, allows you to shape your destiny. I want you to understand the importance of empowerment, not only with knowledge, but with platforms such as this one. And of course, I want you to understand that your words are not only welcome, but they're weighted with importance. And so to every young debater who showed up and showed out in this room today, do not pretend to be leaders. As you've done, you actually are. You actually are leaders representing your primary schools. Most of you are standard 3 and 4 students, yeah? 5? Very good. So 4 and 5 students, yeah? And so, of course, you're represented with pride. And so, This country has heard your ideas. Your voices have inspired us all. And this chamber was reminded that Tobago's quest for self-determination will never be complete unless it includes your dreams, your drive, and the decisions you make. And so once again, thank you so much, my young, brilliant Tobagonians. You've indeed made all of us proud. I thank you.
Heartfelt appreciation is extended to you, Madam Secretary, for your edifying and uplifting words. At this time, we now invite the Deputy Chief Secretary and Secretary for Health, Wellness and Social Protection, Dr. Faith Brebner.
Good morning, everyone. Allow me also to stand on the already established protocols, but allow me to quickly say to all of you lovely boys and girls, I am so, so, so proud of you. So proud of you. I sat there and I listened to you give presentations that honestly, some of them are better than the presentations we give in this house. I sat there and I listened to you articulate points that some of us are unable to articulate. I sat there and listened to you show an understanding of the standing orders in a way that, I'll speak for myself, some of us aren't even aware of those standing orders. And I start there because I want to say to you, the boys and girls sitting, but probably more importantly to the parents and to the teachers and to the staff of the Assembly Legislature that got you to this point, thank you all so much, because it means that you are allowing the younger generation to truly participate in the governance of Trinidad and Tobago, and specifically Tobago. I know your faces. I know your smiles. I know your mummies and daddies. And I am so, so, so eternally proud of you. But as the Secretary with responsibility for education indicated, this is actually not a plaything. This is a debate that we are currently having in the Tobago space. This is a debate that has the potential to actually, within the next year, affect what we do in the Tobago House of Assembly, affect how we function in the Tobago House of Assembly, and it will also affect your lives. Because we frequently forget that politics influences all of us. Politics, what we do in here, what we do in those buildings, influences whether you have a leaking or a fixed school. It influences whether you have a road that is pothole-ridden or not. It influences whether you go to a hospital that has the medication or not. And I am glad that we are here today showing that all of us are affected by it, and therefore all of us are participating in the process that influences what happens. So again, congratulations to all of you. Again, congratulations in particular to the Assembly Legislature for opening the halls to groups of people who may never have experienced it before. Congratulations to you, the parents and the teachers, for doing the hard work. But most importantly, congratulations to our up and coming area representatives, our up and coming secretaries and assistant secretaries, our up and coming chief secretary, our up and coming presiding officers, our up and coming members of society who are truly going to be productive members leading us in the future. Again, congratulations, and I thank you.
Members of the gallery, please remember to put your phones on mute. Thank you, Deputy Chief, for such reassuring words for my generation and future generation. We are indeed appreciative and immensely thankful. She is a woman who is forward-thinking, elegantly poised with a gracious charm that captivates effortlessly. Help me welcome Madam Presiding Officer, Ms. Abby Taylor, to share her remarks.
Good day, everyone. Hi. Can we give our young debaters another round of applause, please? To our honored guests, teachers, parents, and most importantly, our bright, bold, and brilliant student debaters. Again, I say, good day. As presiding officer, it brings me great pride and joy to stand before you today to congratulate the second cohort of this groundbreaking initiative. To our student participants, you have done something that many adults still shy away from. You stood, you spoke, you defended your ideas with courage, clarity, and care. That is no easy feat. The primary plenary was created not just as an exercise in public speaking, but as a platform to remind us all that youth voices are not the future, they are the present. Your contributions today reminded us that the young people, you, our young people, are not just watching from the sidelines. You are thinking critically, asking questions, and shaping solutions for your schools, your communities, and our island. So why is your voice so important? Because the world, we are trying to build because cannot succeed without your perspective. Let me say that again. Because the world we are trying to build cannot succeed without your perspective. You bring honesty, hope, and innovation. You challenge us to do better. You do so with such passion, and that is very refreshing and also very necessary. And here in Tobago, where we continue to grow in confidence, in pride, and in our pursuit of autonomy, your role is even more vital. Autonomy is not only about self-governance. It is about making decisions that reflect who we are as Tobagonians, our values, our culture, our priorities. But how can we speak of building a Tobago for the future if we do not involve those who live in that future? You, our student debaters, are already showing what more inclusive, more democratic, a nicer Tobago could look like. Where our young people do not have to wait to be heard, they are being heard right now. So once again, I commend each and every one of you for not only what you said, here today, but for what you represent: confidence, commitment, and the courage to lead. I should say this, and I think I speak for everybody: Tobago is in safe hands. Keep asking bold questions, keep offering thoughtful answers, and keep believing that your voice matters, because it truly does. Congratulations to each of all of you, and may this be the beginning of a journey in leadership. Again, I say thank you.
We invite Mr. Lincoln Nelson, Clerk of the Assembly, to bring you closing remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Faith Brebner, Deputy Chief Secretary, Tobago House Assembly, Senator, the Honorable Melanie Roberts Rajman, Madam Presiding Officer, who just stepped out, Ms. Abby Taylor, members of the Tobago House of Assembly, Acting Chief Administrator, Mr. Kyle Murray, and other administrators, members of the media, young, passionate debaters, specially invited guests, industrious and diligent teachers, committed and focus-driven parents, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The opening lyrics of the song, "The Greatest Love of All," sung by the late, great Whitney Houston, states, "I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way." Today culminates the efforts of an important aspect of your learning journey. You have been taught well. You have expressed yourselves well. You have done well. I can safely say that from your engagement in the legislative process of our government structures, especially at this tender age, will indeed enable any of you who are willing to take this even further to eventually lead the way for Tobago. One of the Assembly Legislature's mandate is to ensure that the citizenry of Tobago understands their civic responsibility. Programs to enhance public awareness, strengthen civic responsibility, and promote active participation in governance are the vehicles used by the legislature to facilitate this initiative. This plenary initiative is one of these programs. This year's program is even more special as this magnificent and monumental structure, this marveling architecture, the Assembly Legislature building, celebrates 200 years of existence. I want to express my gratitude to you, our primary school students, for taking up the challenge to participate in this year's primary plenary program. I would also wish to say thanks to your teachers and parents who, throughout this unforgettable experience, have provided unwavering support. Finally, to the staff of the Assembly Legislature for selflessly giving of yourselves to educate our young debaters on the history and rules of this august chamber. Finally, as we aim to grow and develop as an island, Foremost in our minds must be the need to learn and understand our history, legislative and otherwise, and be willing to participate in any of our government processes and institutions, all of which will lead in some measure to making Tobago the greatest little island on the planet. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nelson, for your closing remarks. We now move into the distribution of tokens to debaters. Allow me to call on Senator, the Honorable Melanie Roberts Rajman, to distribute the first set of tokens. While she makes her way, I would like to call on Dominique Hall. I now call on Zamal Chapman. We now call on Zafia Connell. Thank you, Senator, the Honorable Melanie Roberts Rajman. We now call on Assemblyman and Secretary for Education, Research and Technology, Jarisha Hackett. We call on Keshawn Grant. Aquila Cupid. Johanna Brown. Thank you, Assemblyman Jarisha Hackett. Please join me in welcoming Acting Chief Administrator of the Tobago House of Assembly, Carl Murray, to present the third batch of tokens. we are delighted to invite Clerk of the Assembly, Mr. Lincoln Nelson, to assist in dispensing token to the fourth set of debaters. Chevelle Barson. Enrique Villafana. Thank you, Mr. Lincoln Nelson. At this juncture, we request Assemblyman and Deputy Chief Secretary and Secretary for Health, Wellness and Social Protection, Dr. Faye Brebner, we now call on Cindy Paul. Kimani Campbell. Ruth George. Elijah Dick. Thank Thank you, Dr. Fates. Finally, we call on Madam Presiding Officer, Ms. Abby Taylor, to share in this special moment by distributing tokens to the remainder of participants. Omar gift. Danique Roger. Carver Trim. Josiah Andrews. Kayleigh Andrews. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer, Ms. Abby Taylor. I am Sienna Rupchand, and I stand before you today deeply honored and profoundly moved to have served as Master of Ceremonies for this second annual primary plenary debate. As a former debater, this moment is full circle. To return here, not just as a spectator, but as a voice guiding today's event, and to witness our young minds take the floor with such boldness, brilliance, and grace. It stirred something powerful in me. The energy in this chamber was electric. The clarity, the conviction, the passion with which you debated, it echoed through these historic walls and straight into the heart of Tobago's future. To our phenomenal young debaters, thank you. You spoke not just with words, but with fire, with purpose. You proved that autonomy is not just a topic for adults. It's a living conversation that belongs to all of us, especially the youth. You have lit a spark, and I believe your voices will echo far beyond this room and ignite island-wide dialogue. To every teacher, parent, and mentor who stood behind these students, your quiet strength and encouragement were the wind beneath their wings. To those who joined us in the public gallery and online, thank you for showing up, for listening, for believing. To all our distinguished guests, thank you for your presence and support. And to Madam Presiding Officer, Ms. Abby Taylor, what a visionary you are. You did not just dream up this space for youth. You built it. You built the people's house which opened these doors, cleared the path, and raised the bar for Tobagonians to have a voice. On behalf of every young person inspired today, we thank you. Let's all join together in a heartfelt round of applause to honor her and her dedicated team. Madam Presiding Officer, Thank you for not just holding a space, but creating it. Before we transition to the official photo shoot, allow me to say it has been my absolute pleasure to host today's closing ceremony. May we all carry forward the courage, curiosity, and conviction that filled this chamber today. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. Students, teachers, and dignitaries, please make your way to the center of the horseshoe to facilitate the official group photo.
Assemblers, I'm Kayleigh Andrews, presiding officer for the second annual primary plenary debate happening Thursday, June 12, 2025 at 10 a.m. inside the Assembly Chamber. Autonomy, autonomy, autonomy. 19 bold young voices are ready to shake the island as they tackle the big question. How does autonomy affect us, youth? With courage, clarity, and conviction, we're stepping up and speaking out. Join us live in the chamber or tune in on YouTube and Facebook. We are bold, brilliant, and just getting started. Thursday, June 12th at 10 a.m. Listen, we little, but we talawa. Don't miss it.
The question, what is autonomy? Autonomy is about people in Tobago having that right to determine for ourselves the kind of government we want, how we want our government to be structured, and what we want from government. Essentially, for the presentation today, this is a video from ePixel. I want us to look at it. And after you look at it, I want some brave child to say how you feel about it, right? So in this video, we have two bird characters. I want to know, without me prompting you, what do you think the birds represent, or who do they represent? And what will be, the third question, what will be your response if you were in the situation of the bird that is seemingly disadvantaged in this scenario?
Well, I took the smaller bird as the island of Tobago and the larger bird as the island of Trinidad. The moral of the story is to show that even if we are a smaller island and Trinidad is the bigger island, we could still work together to form our own government, to build, to help the betterment of our country.
You may now join the students for a photo.
From my view of the story, I was going to say that the small bird, which was Tobago, wanted to help out and help Trinidad become bigger and help itself become bigger, but Trinidad didn't want it, and it was being unfair by taking off more stuff that Tobago also needs to become a better country.
Very well. So she spoke about the resource sharing, and that the bigger bird, she observed the bigger bird taking most of the stuff, including the stuff that the smaller bird acquired on its own, and that the smaller bird also needed for its own sustenance. So that's a very good observation, let's say, for West Side. And for all of you here, children, you are essentially the tomorrow. You are the ones that have to keep this beautiful and create an even more beautiful country for everybody. You are the ones that have to do that for all of us.
Pretty little baby, pretty little baby.
Haley, when you about Assembly Legislature Bicentennial celebration, it is writing, gala, exhibition, verse speaking competition.
From 1825 to 2025, the Assembly.
Rose,
but what inside?
What happened?
Auntie, this verse hard, bad. I can't remember it. The Assembly Legislature making me hell hot, man.
Hey, don't study that. We gonna fix it together. We gonna say it like a story. Better yet, we gonna say it like a little song.
This big old building, tall and wide, it's keeping Tobago pride inside. From long time days, from now we see it's standing firm for you and me.
You see, that wasn't so hard, Rosie. So here what I want you to do for me. I want you to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend that the Assembly Legislature verse speaking competition is on. And hear what? The prices on them, nice. So make sure and tell your friends and them. Right, Rosie?
Yes, Auntie.
Pretty little baby, I'm so in love with you.
For our bicentennial celebrations, we are going to fully immerse you in Tobago's legislative history.
We are going to show you the importance of understanding oneself for the present and future development of our people. And for us, it all starts here.
The celebration starts today, April 23. This marks the day that Governor F.P. Robinson laid the foundation stone for construction of the building in 1821. It took 4 years for the building to be completed, and it is considered to be one of the best examples of Georgian architecture in the region. Today, it stands uptown Scarborough for 2 centuries, and you get a chance to touch 200 years of history at this year's Night of Mystery, Saturday, 26 April 2025. It's a tour of the building, but with a twist.
We kick off the first event for our babies, our future. We wanted to find a unique and creative way of including our preschoolers in our celebration. Little Voice, Big Heritage gives our preschoolers the opportunity to do a little research with the help of mommy, daddy, and of course the teachers, to script a verse about anything legislative and present it to an audience. We'll even help by providing a breakdown of our legislative history from 1825 to 2025 for you to choose from.
The month of May is going to be jam-packed with activities for our young debaters as the highly anticipated primary plenary caravan. Our staff will visit all primary schools and begin training sessions from May 12th. Last year was definitely a learning curve for us. As we visited schools, we quickly learned our primary schoolers wanted to know more. And in an effort to fulfill our mandate of engaging and educating at all levels, we have decided to include their voices in the much talked about autonomy discussions. What will be presented? We just have to wait and see when these primary school students take over the House to hold their debate on Thursday, June 12, 2025.
Listen, we have a full calendar of events on our website. If you scan this code, it will take you straight to all the dates. There's our weekly web series on myths and memories. We tell the stories you love and easy to remember for you to share with your friends and family starting in May.
If you want a deep dive into
what really happens in Tobago and not what's just in the books you've read, you'll want to be a part of our panel discussion. Tobago historians, former assemblymen, youth debaters will engage in thought-provoking discourse. Look out for This Is Us, Legacy Cultural Celebrations.
During the Tobago Heritage Festival, we would show how Tobago's legislature affected people's lives. People were restricted from becoming members of the Assembly Legislature. But with the number of landed Tobagonians, things started to change. Find out more at our Tobago Heritage Festival presentation in July.
The Assembly Building housed a critical part of our island's history. Through various mediums, we will host our first ever exhibition at the Tobago Fine Arts Center at Fort King George. The People's Gala is in September. It is a celebration that pays recognition to the men and women who define us. We will honor the members who fought for where we are today.
In October, we end our bicentennial celebration with a dedication ceremony to recognize the Assembly Building as a heritage site.
Check out our socials regularly for updates or go to tobagolegislature.org for details.
All things flow from here. And when we think of that phrase, it's supposed to evoke some form of feeling, be it nostalgia or whatever it might be. The fact remains that when we think of Tobago, this building is the one place to which everything flowed, be it churches, courthouses, library, finance,
post office.
This is us. Everything flows from here.